participate here commemorating the Xiaoming birthday. So first of all, I will express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Chen for invitation. Thank you very much. This symposium is also one of the celebration events marking the 25th anniversary of the founding of the Center on Chinese Education. As the poster says, this represents 25 years of educational collaboration across the Pacific Ocean. In my view, the center has made significant contributions to the preservation and development of history and to the promotion of China and American education cooperation. Today's symposium is a vivid example of that. Through commemorating and studying Xiaoming, we can see the historic connections between Chinese educator and Teachers College, Columbia University, and better understand the ranges, development, and contemporary value of Tao's educational thought and practice. Because my research field is aesthetic education, art education, so today my presentation will focus on Tao's aesthetic education thought. Okay. So the top, okay. Before I share my presentation, I will introduce briefly the connection between Xiaoming and my university, Nanjing Normal University. These photos show my university. It's often called the most beautiful campus in East. Nanjing Normal University traces its origins to the Zhenjiang Normal College, founded in 1902, one of the birthplaces of high normal education in China. Another source of Nanjing Normal University is the Huiwen Academy, founded in 1888, which later developed into Jingli University, just as Professor Chen has mentioned that. So that's next slide. This is also the picture of my university. Welcome to our university. Next slide. From 1909 to 1914, Xiaoming spent an important period of his life at Jingli University. From 1914 to 1970, he pursued his graduate studies in the United States. During his doctorate studies at Columbia University, Hu Yiwen, then Director of Education at Nanjing High Normal School, and also a Columbia alumnus, sincerely invited Tao to teach there. In 1917, Tao accepted the invitation and became a full-time professor of education, teaching courses such as pedagogy and educational administration. In 1918, he served as acting dean of academic affairs and founded the Department of Education, serving as its first director. This department became the institutional starting point of Nanjing Normal University's current discipline of education. Therefore, Tao Xingzhi was not only a foundational figure in the early development of our university's education discipline, but also one of the key thinkers shaping its educational trajectory. Alongside Chen Heqing. Chen Heqing is also great from here, the founder of early childhood education, and Wu Yifang, the president of Jingli Women's College. Okay, let's next. This is a photo of my school. Professor Chen has been there. There is a statue of Tao Xingzhi. Beneath the statue is Tao Xingzhi's most famous quote: "Come with a heart full of devotion, leave without taking a single blade of glass." This quote reflects his art sincerity and passion for dedicating himself wholeheartedly to the education. Okay, so I will talk about Tao Xing's thought on aesthetic education in life. Before discuss these topics, I will just give a uh, brief introduction of Tao Xing's philosophy of education. I think now a lot of students, professors know a lot about Tao Xing's philosophy of education. Tao's philosophy of life education best summarized the famous phrases, life is education and society is school. These ideas evolved from John Dewey's education is life and school is society. Tao's thought on life education was closely tied to his efforts in promoting mass education. In early 20th century China, a country beset by poverty and weakness, he hoped to cultivate sound personalities through widespread education as a means of national salvation. In his process, he gradually clarified the relationship between life and education. He wrote, "What is life? What is life? Whatever possesses vitality and continuously develops within its environment, that's life." From this, he concluded, if it is life, it is educational, it is education. Good life means good education. Bad life means bad education. Serious life means serious education. Careless life means careless education. Reasonable life means reasonable education. Unreasonable life means unreasonable education. Linked with life is education is society is school. Tao said, to its school is society was like catching a lively bird from the sky and locked it in a cage. While society's school is to release the caged bird into the open sky, letting education extending into nature and real life. The true battlefield of education lies in the broad realm of social life. Based on his life-centered education philosophy, Tao proposed the concept of aesthetic education in life. In his words, the life of art is the education of art. He believed that academic and art education are inseparable from life. Life itself is aesthetic education. Aesthetic education should not be confined to art or music classes. It should permeate every aspect of daily life. As he said, the kind of life one lives determines the kind of education one receives. He lived an artistic life is to receive an artistic education. The goal of aesthetic education, according to Tao, is to cultivate the true, good, and beautiful unit of the whole person. Aesthetic education is not skill training, but emotional and moral cultivation. Through aesthetic experience, emotion, and creative, human life moves towards perfection. It becomes a process of character refinement and spiritual elevation. Yeah. Now I will talk the theoretical foundations of Tao Xing's thought on aesthetic education. There are two main theoretical foundations of Tao Xing's thought. Next slide. Yeah. Tao Xing's thought on aesthetic education in life draws from both John Dewey's art as experience and the spirit of traditional Chinese aesthetics. John Dewey's art experience, a landmark in 20th century aesthetics. To bring about social transformation and help people overcome spiritual disintegration while rediscovering the meaning of happiness of life. Dewey criticized the traditional dual, dual, dualistic philosophy and on the basis of monistic worldview, constructed an aesthetic system centered on experience, with a fundamental proposition that art as experience. For Dewey, experience arises through continuous interaction between the individual and the environmental. He argued that within experience itself lies the germ of the aesthetics and the artistic. The manifestation and development of these germs depend on the transformation of mere experience to one experience. Human interaction was the environmental continuously generated experience. However, these experiences are often preliminary, incomplete, or even contradiction. Means and ends are separated, and the process lacks coherence. Only when experience reaches a state fulfillment, that's when true have one experience. The characteristics of one experience are first, that has a complete and unified process. Second, that it processes individual distinctiveness. And third, the intellect, will, and emotion permitted one another within it. When one experience becomes vivid and intense, it turns into an aesthetic experience. Thus, in Dewey's view, aesthetic experience is not a special kind of experience limited to moments of artistic creation or appreciation of beauty. Rather, when the various experiences of daily life, eating, dressing, traveling, are integrated into one experience, they become aesthetic experience. For instance, do we give us example of a fisherman who may eat a fish he catches, yet this does not diminish the aesthetic satisfaction he felt while casting his line for pleasure. It is precisely the sense of fulfillment experienced in the process of making and perceiving that determines whether something is beautiful. What makes it an artwork is that the artist, in both creating and appreciating, fully processes his own life and feels the vitality of living. Artworks intensely and distinctly embody one experience drawn from life itself. Hence, Dewey sought to restore the connection between aesthetic experience and lived experience, to listen to the ordinary, the everyday, and to discover the aesthetic qualities within it. He thus broken down the boundaries between the aesthetic and the practical, between art and life, between high art and popular art. Similarly, Tao Xingzhi organized that aesthetic education should not be limited to artistic activities, but should be embedded in all aspects of daily life. As he said, cooking is art for life. To do something, paint a picture, write a word, if it brings joy to oneself and others, that's art. A meal cooked well brings pleasure and comfort to all. It's also art. Both Tao and Wei sought to transform everyday experience to aesthetic experience. So the next theoretic foundation of Tao Xingzhi is the spirit of traditional Chinese aesthetics and aesthetics education. Tao was also deeply grounded in classical Chinese learning. His thought on aesthetic education was rooted in the soil of Chinese culture. Traditional Chinese aesthetic emphasized the aestheticization of China, of life. Aesthetic education does not remain at a technical level. Rather, it cultivates human emotion and elevates the spirit through aesthetic and artistic activities. Therefore, traditional Chinese art are essentially arranged as art for life. Art is not merely a technique, it's a means of cultivating oneself, nurturing emotions through artistic practice, experiencing life and understanding the way. This work will outline on life and aesthetic perspective are all embodied in traditional Chinese art. For example, the Guqin, there is a picture of the Guqin. The Guqin embodies the unit of yin and yang. On Thursday, Professor Li gave us a lecture about Chinese traditional medicine. I think Chinese medicine and Chinese traditional art and Chinese traditional culture share the one philosophy of China. That is, I can say that's a Dao. It's about the relationship between the yin yang. It emphasizes the holistic harmony and balance each others. So if they build the Guqin, the top and bottom will use a different kind of wood. Perhaps one wood which grows under the sunshine, but another is not grows on the sunshine. So the yin and yang combined the Guqin. So the Guqin embodies the unit of the yin and yang, nature and community. Playing the Guqin requires inner calm, purification, and mindfulness. Similarly, Chinese ink painting using only ink and water. That's a Chinese painting. Seeks to transcend forms and color to express the infinite essence of life and the dawn of the universe. Next. Thus, the ultimate goal of Chinese aesthetic education is the moral and spiritual cultivation of the individual, the unit of truth, goodness, and beauty. Confucius called this the state of becoming complete through aesthetics. Chinese is 成于悦, and wandering freely in the arts. Chinese means 游于艺. Tao's idea of aesthetic education in life aligned with this tradition. To cultivate a whole person, one who integrates truth, goodness, and beauty, therefore achieving a poetic life. In short, Tao Xingzhi's philosophy of aesthetic education in life represents a creative development tailored to China's realities, shaping under the influence of both Eastern and Western scholarship and culture. So how did Tao Xingzhi put his philosophy of education, of aesthetic education in life into practice? Let's talk about it. Okay, Tao's practice of aesthetic education was characterized by the unit of teaching, learning, and doing. It permitted the school environment, pedagogy, and community life. Next slide. He valued both nature and He valued both nature and cultural environments. He founded the Yucai School. This Yucai School. He founded Yucai School near Gusen Temple. This is a picture of Gusen Temple. The temple surrounded by nature. So Tao called it the best place for education. For nature itself is the greatest teacher and inexhaustible source of beauty. Next slide. Tao also advocated that teachers should turn education into an art, making the teaching process itself an aesthetic experience. Teachers should influence students not only intellectual but emotional through the power of personality, empathy, and shared life. He encourages students to experience beauty in nature and in labor. Building schools, farmers, or manual work all become opportunity to experience the beauty of order, creation, and harmony. For instance, when constructed the Xiaozhuang School, Tao and his students built the assembly hall themselves, named it Chinese legal Hall of the Poor, symbolize the cultivation of goodness and eradication of evil. He also wrote poetry and songs in plain popular language to inspire the masses and promote a life through truth, goodness, and beauty, such as the famous Hou dance song, Chinese 锄头舞歌. Let's listen to the music. It's okay? Yes. Okay. It's very short.
手把个锄头，手也扫呀，风吹也扫，更要呀，呀嘿呀嘿，风吹也扫，更要呀嘿呀嘿，今年红红呀，锄头想要自由呀。呀嘿呀嘿，手中背上有自由呀嘿呀嘿。
Okay.
So the lyric is by Tao. And if you visit the Tao Xingzhi Memorial Museum at Nanjing Xiaozhuang, there's a recording of his own singing.
Oh,
Yeah, you can listen to his voice. Next time, if you visit
I didn't find
Nanjing,
this.
yeah, they have a recording, original recording of Tao singing the song.
We can feel the song has a very strong rhythm. It's very easy to.
Very uplifting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. At Xiaozhuang and Yucai School, Tao attended great importance to art education, drama, music, painting, poetry, and sculpture. He personally founded the Xiaozhuang Drama Society, writing and performing plays that depicted real social life. Xiaozhuang Drama Society brought the lives of ordinary people onto the stage and performed them publicly. This is a news report on one of Xiaozhuang Drama Society's performance at the time. At Yucai School, students were grouped by special talents, music, drama, painting, literature, nature, etc., so that every child's artistic potential could flourish. This photo shows the former classroom side of the music group at Yucai School. That's the photo. So Tao Xingzhi's thought on aesthetic education in life represents a brilliant integration of Eastern and Western culture and a model of theory practice unit. Although his ideas served the needs of early 20th century China, they remain profoundly relevant today as we seek to promote aesthetic education that is deeply rooted in life and practice. That's the end of my sharing. Thank you for all of your attention. Welcome to comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you.